Yo, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel, and we did get some brand new card reveals here for our newest set, Obsidian Flames, which is going to come out in August. So we have a bit of a ways away until Obsidian Flames comes out, but we now have some official reveals of some of the new cards from the set, including 3 brand new EXs, one of them being, of course, that Dark-type Terrestrial Charizard. Now, this card's actually been revealed for a while now, except that PokeBeach or anywhere online never really posted the official scans of this card, so I never actually covered it because it's official scans weren't posted. But this card has been leaked for a while now in its full art gold form. But we do have a Tyranitar EX and an Ice Cube EX. Now you might notice these Pokemon are not the same type that they used to be. Charizard is a dark type, Tyranitar is a lightning type, and Ice Cube is a fire type. So these new EXs are all different types, and there are some pretty interesting new cards that did get revealed that we're going to be looking at in today's video. If you were new to the second channel, make sure to click that subscribe button down below so you never miss an upload here on the second channel. But let's take a look at what these new cards do and if they're any good, because of course we got 3 new EXs. Surely one of them has to be fairly playable. Well, let's find out. So, of course, starting things off here, we do have, well, we got that apparently. We got Ice Cube. So let's read Ice Cube real quick here. So Ice Cube EX does have 210 HP on a basic. It is a fire type Pokemon, and it does have the Terra ability or effect where if it's on the bench, you prevent all damage on this Pokemon by attack. So you basically get to be immune to attacks for a turn, which is pretty good. Obviously, it's on every Terra card, so it isn't anything groundbreaking, but being immune to, Radiant Greninja is kind of nice. But the big thing is its attack, Scalding Block, for 3 water energy, does 160 damage, and then discard energy of his Pokemon. The defending Pokemon cannot attack during your opponent's next turn. So this card does work with Baxcalibur. That's, the main thing you can maybe take away from Ice Cube, is that it technically is playable with Baxcalibur. It does 160 damage, so you're not doing a whole lot of damage, and you have to discard energy, and you force your opponent to be unable to attack the following turn. So, unfortunately, nothing too crazy to write home about. Nothing too crazy. Ice Cube is not the most playable card ever. You can combine this with, Spite Ops, I guess, so, your opponent won't be able to retreat out of the Scalding Block, but overall, this card is nothing that crazy, nothing too crazy. Unfortunately, it's not a super playable card. And then we got Finzins here, then we got the evolution here, Palafin. Now, the pre-release promo actually got leaked of it, which is kind of funny that the pre-release promo got leaked, but basically it has the attack Jet Punch, does 1 for 30, and then 30 to a bench Pokemon, and then you have Justice Kick, that does 210 damage. If this Pokemon didn't move from the bench to the active spot's turn, this attack does nothing, so you do have to switch Palafin in order to use the attack again, which is honestly not too bad. You can obviously just play Switch and Escape Rope or Cross Switcher to make this work, but it's nothing too crazy. I mean, 210 for 2 isn't that bad, to be honest, but it's nothing too crazy to write home about just yet. And then finally, the big one here, we got the brand new Terrestrial Tyranitar EX. I know a lot of people are really hyped for Tyranitar. Well, is this card good? So the first thing to note is a Stage 2 Pokemon with 340 HP, and it does have a lightning type. Yes, this Pokemon is a lightning type Tyranitar. We have not seen a lightning type Tyranitar actually in quite a while. I think the last time we had a lightning type Tyranitar was it was a long time. It was a Delta species card, and it was actually a pretty playable card back in the day. But does this card live up to the old Tyranitar? Well, it does have the Terra ability where it doesn't get affected on the bench, and it's got 2 different attacks with both need a fighting energy. So you got Mountain Crumble. 1 fighting does 120 damage, and you discard the top 2 cards of your deck. So 1 for 120 isn't insanely good. It's okay. You have to mill the top 2 cards of your deck, though, which can be pretty annoying. So I don't know if that's really worth the trade-off of doing 120 damage. But the other attack, Toll Rampage, for 2 fighting, does 150 damage. And if any of your bench Pokemon have any damage on them, the attack does 100 more damage. So you can do 250 damage for 2 energy if anything on the bench has damage. Now, of course, we can combine this with Gapejaw Bog or with the Gengar. So, I mean, it's okay. This card isn't insanely good. It's kind of mediocre, if I'm going to be honest with you. It's kind of sad that this Tyranitar is kind of mid, because Tyranitar is obviously a really cool Pokemon, and we haven't really had I don't think we've had, a super competitive Tyranitar card in quite some time. I think the last time we had it was, you could argue Sableye Tyranitar tag team was okay, but This is unfortunately just not cutting it. I think this T-Tar is just kind of bordering on mid. Being a lightning type is nice. So, like, if you're playing against Lugia, obviously this is good to have. And it does do a lot of damage. I mean, you can do 250. Of course, with a choice belt, you can do 280, which does hit the magic numbers. And you are already fighting you do have fighting energy in your attack cost. So you can be very experimental with how you play this. You can play this with other fighting Pokemon. I don't know if you're going to be playing with, like, Tinglu or anything, but you could play with Tinglu. You could play it with, like, Lucario V-Star, Aerodactyl V-Star. I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Like, you could play with other, like, fighting energy attackers. So there is some synergy there. And it being a lightning type is kind of neat because you do get a lightning attacker for that. So it's an interesting idea, but unfortunately this Tyranitar is just nothing too crazy to write home about. We could have had a cool T-Tar, but yeah, unfortunately T-Tar just doesn't really cut it. Just doesn't, it's fine, but it's just not insane. It's also a stage 2, keep in mind. So you also need to go rare candy T-Tar. Though, to be fair, there's a world where, like, if you really wanted to, you could play this with Gengar, and you could just have, like, you could just try to get rare candy quick enough. You can, I mean, this card could be pretty deadly. I mean, it is a very tanky Pokemon. Again, it's got 340 HP. It ain't getting knocked out anytime soon. Then we got a Cleffa promo. Now, Cleffa promo here, once again, is going to be the pre-release kit promo. Now, this card is very similar to some old Cleffas we've had with Grasping Draw. For no energy, you can draw cards until you have 7 in your hand. Now, it's not Eek. If this was an Eek reprint, that would have been kind of sick, though, to be fair, this isn't a baby Pokemon with that baby Pokebody or Pokepower, whatever it was, where, like, it can't be damaged if it's asleep. But get draw 7 until you have, draw cards, you have 7 in your hand. Honestly, not a bad attack. If you could do this on your first turn going first, this would probably be a little bit better. Because otherwise, I think it's just kind of a mid card. I mean, yeah, you get a big hand, but we're in a format with Iono and Judge. So, like, I'm not sure that this Cleffa is very good. It's also only got 30 HP. So, like, in a format where Sableye still exists, this card will never see play. Because I don't know if you'd ever want to bench a Cleffa when your opponent can just, like, lost mine it. So, I don't know. Probably not very good. If it worked on your first turn going first, this actually maybe would have been a lot better. This actually could have been decent if you could use it on your first turn going first, but you can't, so it's probably just kind of a borderline mid card. We got the Pupitar here that obviously evolves into the Tyranitar. Then we got a new Mawile, which once again is the promo. We got Special Eater here. When you place Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, during your turn, you may discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Now, this is very similar to a Giratina card we had from the set. I think it was Unified Minds, right? Where you bench it and you get rid of a special energy. Honestly, not bad. I mean, you're able, obviously, to get rid of Double Turbo, which is a big one. You get rid of V-Guard energy, which is another big one. You get rid of, like, Therapeutic energy, which could be kind of cool. There's actually quite a few special energy cards you can get rid of here. Obviously, Reversal energy could be another big one, and Luminous energy are all pretty interesting energy to get rid of. So this card is definitely interesting. Now, there is one downside of Mawile. There's no more Scoop Up Net in the format. Obviously, one of the things that made Mawile or Giratina so good back in the day is that Scoop Up Net existed, because you could bench the Giratina, discard the special energy, and then Scoop Up Net it. Mawile does not have Scoop Up Net in the format in order for it to work. The only thing it really has is Penny, which isn't, like, I don't know if you want to waste Penny on a Mawile, you know what I mean? So I don't know if it's worth it to do that, but Mawile definitely could be playable. I can see Dex playing one of these because the ability isn't bad, right? Being able to get rid of a special energy for free like that is kind of good. It's better than Fan of Waves, because Fan of Waves, obviously, your opponent gets to keep the energy. It's better than, like, Flannery, because your opponent, you know, it's a supporter. So, yeah, I can see Mawile being a playable card. I wouldn't be surprised if it saw play as a one-of. Then we got Poppy. Which some of these cards, for whatever reason, their full translations are not online yet. So we're going to go hop over to Twitter here to see the rest of the translations here. So we got Poppy. Move up to 2 energy from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. And honestly, that's a pretty cool supporter card. Being able to move energy like that is kind of neat. I could actually see Poppy being a playable supporter card. Because all you have to do is, like, switch the Pokemon to the bench, right? And then the new Pokemon goes in the active, and then you Poppy the energy to the new Pokemon. That could be a pretty cool combo. I can see Poppy seeing play in some niche archetypes. Maybe like an Arceus deck could play it. I definitely like Poppy. I think Poppy's a pretty good card. And yeah, it's a unique supporter. I don't think we've seen a supporter card like this before. So it's cool to see a unique supporter. And I do think this is a playable card for sure. Being able to move energy like that is good. Again, if you're playing against a deck or playing a deck that like revolves around getting energy in play, something again like Arceus V-Star being a big one, this is where Poppy is going to shine the most. So I do think Poppy is a fairly playable card. So yeah, let me know what you think of Poppy down below. I'm actually curious if you can think of any other combos for Poppy. I'm sure there's more out there. Next up, we got the new Encouragement Letter. This is a really unique card. So you can only play this card if your Pokemon were knocked out. So if any of your Pokemon get knocked out during your last turn, search your deck for up to 3 basic energies and put them into your hand. So it's like a Professor's Letter Capacious Bucket card on steroids because you get 3 energy. Now, this could be a really good card in Xianpao. So I can see Xianpao playing one of these because you can Irida for it. So say, you know, whatever gets knocked out, right? So you're going second. You go second. Something's surely going to get knocked out in your opponent's next turn, right? And then Encouragement Letter, get you 3 energy. This can turn Irida into a triple energy card, which could be pretty cool. So definitely a playable card in Xianpao. There's other decks that can play it too. I know there's a card, I forget what it does, but it does a bunch of damage for each energy in your hand. There's obviously Smeargle, there's Sunflora. I don't know, there's some niche cards. But I think the big one this card will be good with is Xianpao. I'm not sure what other decks might play it. Being able to get 3 energy in your hand is good, don't get me wrong. I mean, any deck can honestly play this card. It's definitely a card that can see play in quite a few decks that do want energy in their hand/discard pile. So, not a bad card. I do like that it's like a unique take on the Professor's Letter, you know, Capacious Bucket type card, where it works only if something gets knocked out. I like that. I like how I designed that. We got Scizor. This Pokemon, this attack does 50 damage for each of your opponent's Pokemon with it that have an ability. So, it's actually doing 10 plus 50, so it's not just doing 50 times like Flapple is. So it's nice to see this type of card in the format. Obviously, Zorobox can play this. It is a metal Pokemon, which honestly is kind of cracked. Scizor is genuinely a good card because of its metal typing, meaning that it will work with Zoroark against Xianpao. So Xianpao, I mean, every card Xianpao has in play will have an ability, right? Baxcalibur, Xianpao, Palkia, Bibarel, Greninja, Manaphy, Lumineon. They all have abilities, and that's really good. Xianpao is weak to metal, meaning that Scizor can hit Xianpao for weakness. And yeah, this immediately is an upgrade to Zorobox. I don't know. I mean, Zorobox can probably... I feel like Zorobox is fine against Xianpao, but, I mean, you just have, like, an easier time into Xianpao now. And then we got the new Charizard. So the Charizard scans weren't on Pokebeach, but here's what it does. So we've already seen this card get revealed before, but we're going to look at it in its full glory. So yeah, it does have the Terra ability where it's not damaged on the bench, but it does have an ability itself. So you got Hellfire Ruler. Once you're in turn, when you play this from your hand, to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may search your deck for up to 3 fire energy and attach them to your Pokemon in play. So you evolve Charizard from Charmander or Charmeleon, and you get to search 3 fire energy out of your deck to your Pokemon. And it looks like it's like all your Pokemon in play, not just Charizard itself. And that's pretty sick. I mean, an energy acceleration on ability, obviously, are all really, really good. So I am very hyped to see that ability. It is a stage 2, but if you're playing Charizard as its own combo, that's good. Now, the big thing you want to know with Charizard is a dark Pokemon, and dark type right now is very, very relevant because Gardevoir and Mew are both weak to dark, and Charizard has that perfect typing of dark. And it does work with fire energy, so you could play this with other fire Pokemon. And there's a lot of fire Pokemon to choose from. You can play it, obviously, with Armor Rouge, Arcanine EX. So yeah, and being a dark type is just obviously a win because you just have a really good type right now. And then its main attack, Burning Darkness, does 180 damage, and then 30 damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. So actually a pretty strong attack. 180 plus 30 is pretty relevant numbers because if you're playing against... you know, a deck that your opponent's already taken like 2 prizes. This thing's already swinging for 240 damage. If your opponent's taken like 3 prizes, you're doing 270. So this card can actually hit pretty high numbers pretty quickly. Definitely more of like a late game attack, but 180 for 2 is honestly good. I mean, you get to accelerate energy to itself with its ability, judging from what its ability does, which I'm pretty sure that is what the ability does. So it's a pretty good ability and a pretty good attack. Funny enough, I think Charizard is actually the best new EX that got revealed in this bundle of cards from Obsidian Flames that were revealed. I legit think Charizard is the best card. It's got a good ability, a really good typing, a pretty good attack too, which is pretty cool. But yeah, we got the Tyranitar here. We've already looked at that, and I think that's it for all of the scans, because some of the scans weren't fully on Pokebeach yet. But yeah, those are all what the new cards do. So yeah, the pre-release promos getting leaked early is kind of odd. I think Mawile is the best one. Cleffa, again, could have been good if it worked going first on your first turn of the game. But yeah, those are all the new cards. Let me know what you think of the new EXs down below. What do you think of Tyranitar and Charizard down below? I think Ice-Q obviously is not very good, but I think that T-Tar is fine, and then Charizard is actually probably pretty playable. So I think both of those cards are decent at best. I think Charizard could actually see some play due to it having a pretty good typing against, pretty good typing against Gardevoir and Mew. And again, being a fire Pokemon, being able to use fire energy, sorry, I'm using it to play with other fire Pokemon. So a lot of fire Pokemon in the format you could pair Charizard with. I'm excited for these new cards to come out in Obsidian Flames, which is going to be, of course, our next set in August. So yeah, let me know what you think of these cards down below. And that'll be for me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't subbed to the second channel yet, make sure to click that subscribe button down below. Hope you all have been enjoying the Pal Day Evolve content over on the main channel. And I'll catch you on another video. Bye-bye.